Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to being well-informed. We dive into the sources you share, pull out those key nuggets, those surprising insights. Today, we're plunging into a really fascinating stack of recent news and developments coming out of India. What I find compelling is how it shows this, well, complex dance between old challenges and a very ambitious future. We're talking climate, AI, infrastructure. Quite the mix.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, this deep dive is really going to show us how many different forces, often interconnected, are shaping the nation. You've got natural events, policy changes, global relations, all happening at once. Okay, let's unpack this.
Absolutely. Let's start with something impacting millions right now, the environment. The India Meteorological Department, the IMD, has issued red and orange warnings across northwest India. What exactly are they forecasting, and what does that scale of warning, mean on the ground?
Well, the sheer scale is what's striking here. We're talking extremely heavy rain that's over 200 millimeters, maybe 8 inches, in just 24 hours in some spots. Specifically, parts of Madhya Pradesh are looking at this from June 23rd to the 27th. And then it extends to other regions like Konkan, Goa, Madhya, Maharashtra, and Gujarat, too.
Wow, 200 millimeters.
Yeah, and this isn't just about, a wet commute. That kind of rainfall, particularly in central India, it often hits agriculture hard, and it really strains city infrastructure. It highlights these ongoing climate resilience challenges India's facing.
A huge environmental pressure point.
Oh.
Okay, but India's also tackling, deeply entrenched issues through policy, through modernization. Let's shift from sort of uncontrollable nature to planned changes.
Yeah.
The registration bill, 2025. What kind of overhaul is this for real estate?
Oh, this is set to be genuinely revolutionary for property in India. It's moving away from a system that still relies heavily on, manual stamp pads towards a nationwide digital registration system.
Right, so everything online.
Everything online. And connecting that to the bigger picture. It's not just about efficiency, though that's part of it. It aims to drastically improve transparency, cut down on fraud, and just streamline property deals across the whole country. More profoundly, it tackles this age-old problem of messy land records disputes. It could potentially unlock billions in assets that were difficult to mortgage before, de-risking ownership. That could really attract investment.
That sounds like a massive systemic shift. Huge economic implications there. Okay, moving from land to air, we're seeing some adjustments in aviation. What's the latest with Air India?
Yeah, so following that tragic incident earlier in the month, Air India is making some temporary cuts. It's less than 5% of their narrow-body routes.
Narrow-body, so the smaller planes.
Exactly, the single-aisle planes. This includes suspending 2 international flights, both to Singapore and pausing some domestic routes. This is planned through July 15th. It does raise questions, about operational stability, how quickly a large airline can adjust its network after an incident to maintain safety and, passenger confidence.
Makes sense. Okay, from essential infrastructure and services, let's jump to something really cutting edge. India is making a significant statement on the global AI stage, aren't they?
They absolutely are. India is gearing up to host its very first AI Action Summit. And interestingly, they're accepting public input right now until June 30th, which signals a pretty inclusive approach.
Public input, that's interesting.
Yeah. And the core goal here is to inject perspectives from the global south, often developing nations in Asia, Africa, Latin America, into that global AI governance conversation. AI development is still largely dominated by the West, right? So India's summit wants to ensure ethical AI frameworks consider diverse contexts. Think about things like varying digital literacy levels or different language needs. It's about offering a template for a more inclusive AI future.
That is a powerful move, a more balanced global tech discussion. Now, speaking of national infrastructure, beyond air travel, there's exciting news on the rails, too, changing how millions travel. Tell us about the new Vande Bharat Express.
Right. The Gorakhpur-Patliputra Vande Bharat Express just started its commercial runs on June 22nd. This is India's own semi-high-speed train design. It connects Gorakhpur and Patna. And it offers, modern amenities, AC chair cars, executive class, onboard Wi-Fi, infotainment systems, better security features.
So more than just speed.
Exactly. It's not just about getting there faster, although that's nice. It's part of India's bigger strategy to connect those tier 2 cities, stimulate regional economies, and kind of decentralize growth away from the huge megacities, a bit like how high-speed rail transformed connectivity in other developed countries.
That's a very clear sign of progress, connecting the country.
Okay.
Switching gears again to international relations, a vital vital humanitarian operation has been underway. Tell us about Operation Sindhu.
Yes, India launched Operation Sindhu back on June 18th. This was a crucial effort focused on evacuating Indian nationals from Iran, given the ongoing Iran-Israel conflict. So far, they've safely brought home 110 Indians, mostly students, actually, with no casualties reported.
That's good news.
It really is. It highlights that commitment a nation has to protect its citizens abroad, especially during geopolitical crises.
Definitely. Finally, we have to turn to a more sobering development, this one from Punjab.
Yes, unfortunately. Police are investigating a really tragic incident in Patiala. Early reports suggest a realtor allegedly shot his wife and their 15-year-old son before taking his own life, all inside their car. Authorities are still working to confirm identities and understand the motive. A very sad situation.
Truly tragic.
Yeah.
Okay, what a whirlwind of updates we've covered. Critical weather warnings impacting daily life, massive digital transformations in property, strategic international evacuations, new train lines.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows how a nation is constantly juggling these multiple layers, doesn't it? Progress and challenges, sometimes unfolding literally in the same 24-hour period. And the interconnectedness is fascinating. A new train line boosting regional economy, a global AI summit pushing for inclusion. It paints this picture of a really dynamic, evolving landscape.
So, what does this all mean for you listening in? As you reflect on these updates, maybe consider how these specific events in India, a policy shift, a tech initiative, even a weather pattern, how might they ripple outwards? How might they influence larger global trends? It's just a reminder, really, that every piece of news, no matter how specific it seems, is part of a much larger, evolving story that, in some way, touches us all. We hope this deep dive leaves you feeling genuinely well-informed and perhaps with a few things to ponder. Until next time.